Hi everybody, my name is Ginell Cooper and this is Crochet Therapy, and today I'm going to teach how to do the Tunisian interlock in the form of a scarf. And we're going to do, it's going to actually be two-sided, so see how the scarf tends to roll like that? We're going to actually make this a reversible scarf so that the other side will be connected as we go on the back so that that roll will go away. First, I've already kind of completed the scarf. My favorite scarf is 62 inches long, so that's what I'm going for on this one too, and I'm almost complete. I just wanted to get it started so I know what I'm doing before I try to teach it to you guys. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna teach you, we're gonna start with the square and I'm gonna teach you how to do the interlock style. It's actually super easy. And then I'm just gonna let you go and do your scarf, and then I'll teach you how to do the back side, which for me is going to be, I'm gonna use a solid color, and then I'm just gonna do some like different size stripes kind of as we go in there. So it'll be like it'll be reversible basically. And that will make it nice and thick and warm, but it'll also keep it from rolling. So what you're gonna need for this project is I used one color in solid and one color in variegated. So the solid color I used was I Love This Yarn, and it's in purple. No fancy name, just purple. This is from Hobby Lobby, but you could use anything. I mean, this is equivalent to probably Red Heart. It's a little bit softer than Red Heart yarn, but you could probably use Red Heart and it would be just fine. It's just a size 4 acrylic. This is called Ferris Wheel. It's by Lion Brand. I got it on Closeout a long time ago, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to find it. I'm gonna link everything that I use in the description if I can find it, or I will link something equivalent to it. I know that Ferris Wheel is still out. I'm just not sure about this color, but look at how yummy those colors are for fall. And this is gonna be my Thanksgiving scarf. So these are my favorite fall colors, all of them. They're so pretty. So what we're basically gonna do is we're gonna do our rows sort of like, it's almost like we're doing corner to corner crochet. We're gonna start with the square, and that'll be our first row, that'll be our second row, that'll be our third row. So it looks a lot more complicated than it is. Really, you're doing this yarn for the first row, this yarn for the second row, back to this yarn for this one. So it looks like I'm being very strategic about where I'm placing these colors, but really it's just happening naturally. So a lot easier than it looks. So besides those two yarns, you're probably also going to need a tapestry needle because there's a lot of ends to weave in. You're also gonna need a scissor. And then these are my favorite Tunisian crochet hooks because this is called Love to Crochet by Denise. I will also link these in the description so you can get to them. And they have extension pieces on them so that you can do longer sets. I'm probably only gonna use this one because I think that'll be just fine. We might do the longer one just for fun, just so you can see how they work on there. But so that for your hook. And then for the second side, oh, you're probably gonna want a measuring tape always, right? That should always be near you. For the second side, I haven't quite decided yet, but I think I'm gonna do the main color in this light gray. This is like a thin, probably a 3, but this is a 4, supposedly, and it's a very thin 4, so they're about the same. This one is also a 4, but it's much thicker. So that's just the way it goes in the yarn world. So I'm trying to find something that's a little bit thinner so it's not too bulky. So this will be the main color. And then I think I'm gonna probably do my stripes in this color, more of this color, and then if I have any of this color left, which I think I will, I'm gonna do some of those too. So it'll just be kind of randomly striped on the ends. And then we're gonna do something fun on the end, I think. I'm gonna put tassels, but we're gonna tassel them with, we're gonna start with a magic carpet stitch to make it pointy, and then we'll add the tassels onto those. So should be super fun. But also it shouldn't be that long of a video because really I'm just gonna teach you how to do the basics of making the squares and then just let you go. And then I'll teach you how to connect as you go when we do the backside. And a lot of this you're gonna do, you know, without watching my video. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Okay, so getting started. This is basic, very basic Tunisian crochet. You're going to just start with a slip stitch. And then you're gonna chain the number that you want your squares to be. And for me, my squares are gonna be 7. You're gonna chain 7. You're gonna end up with 5 stitches in the middle. So the one that goes up the side and then the one you connect on the edge. So it'll be 5 in the middle and then your beginning stitch and your ending stitch. So 7 total. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, then you're going to come over here and you're going to go into this back bump right here, and you're going to pull up a loop and leave it on the hook. Do that all the way across. Okay, so there should be a total of 7 on the hook, your beginning and your ending, and then 5 in the middle. So then what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 basically, but you're going to do it by yarning over once and then pulling through 1 time through the first loop. Then for the rest of these, you're going to yarn over and you're going to go through 2 all the way across. So you work the stitch onto the hook and then you work them back off. Kind of, it's like a cross between knitting and crocheting. Okay, and then pull that hook tight because your right side will tend to be a little bit looser than the rest of it. And then you're just going to take your hook and you're going to go, see this front bar right here? You're going to go under that front bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, leave it on the hook, and do that all the way across until you get to the last stitch. Okay, on the last stitch, you're going to do basically what's called a knit stitch, a Tunisian knit stitch. You're going to go through, there's a horseshoe right there, and there's 2 loops on this side and 1 loop on the other side. You want there to be two loops there. You're going to go right through the middle to the back, yarn over, and pull through just like that. So it's like it's a knit stitch, Tunisian knit stitch right there. And then you're going to yarn over, go through 1. And that's basically your chain up. So see how that knit stitch is continuing on the side. And then you're going to yarn over and go through 2 all the way across. Okay, pull tight and do that again. So find the vertical bar. See, that was the first vertical bar. That's the next one up. Find that vertical bar, go underneath it. Yarn over, pull up a loop, leave it on the hook, all the way across. And that is a Tunisian simple stitch until you get to the end where we're going to do a Tunisian knit stitch on the end. Okay, so we've gotten to the end stitch. You're going to find that horseshoe and go through the middle of it and just make sure that you have 2 pieces of yarn on the front side there. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Just like that. Keep doing that until you have a square, or 5 rows is what I'm working on mine. It's going to go really fast too because it's such a small piece. One of the things I love about interlock is that, or interlock or however you pronounce it, you're working with very small pieces. So it just never gets boring. So there's your knit stitch at the end. Yarn over, go through 1, then go through 2, all the way across. A little bit of yarn barf. Of course, every video has to have yarn barf in it. Okay, so that's 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 1 more row. There's your knit stitch. Okay, and then work it off. Okay, so for the final row, so this, you've got your square, right? For the final row, we do have to complete it though, otherwise you have this one row that's like super loose and the rest of them are nice and tight. So we're gonna go in and do what we did before, do your simple stitch. So pull up a loop, but instead of just pulling up a loop, you're gonna actually pull it through that last loop too. So you're basically, it's very similar to casting off in knitting. Like that, so you pull up a loop, but then pull it all the way through. And then your knit stitch at the end. Okay, so for the first square, since we're doing this diagonally, you're gonna start with just one square. So we're gonna be done with this one and you would just go ahead and knot that and then cut it. I am just doing this to show you, so I'm not going to cut it. Instead, I'm gonna show you how to do the next row. The next row is in your purple color and you're going to go ahead and do a slip knot. And then you're gonna find your corner over here with the direction that you wanna go. So this is gonna be, the scarf is gonna go this way. So we're gonna work this way now, just like we're doing like a corner to corner crochet. So we're gonna go in here, the stitch on the bottom, the end stitch, and you're gonna attach your purple. Go through both of those and tighten it up. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna chain out your 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so there's the one on the, this one on the end and this one on this end, and then 5 in the middle. So turn it over and go through that back bump again. So you have the 2 pieces of yarn on this side and one in the back. You're gonna take that back bump. You're gonna yarn over and pull up the loop. And do that all the way across. You should do it 5 times. Okay, so now you have your end loop and then you have 5 in the middle and then you need to do your last loop. For the last loop, you're going to join into this square. This one that you're connecting here, that counts as going up a stitch. So you're gonna pull that up, but then you're gonna go through both of those and then both of those. So no more 1 on the end. Now they're always gonna be go through 2. I think it just makes for a smoother transition there. Okay, so we're back on the end again. We're gonna go underneath this vertical bar, pull up a loop. You're going under 5 vertical bars in the middle. Okay, and then you're going to attach to this row up here to connect it. So go through there, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, all the way back. So then continue doing that until you get to the top, until you have 5 rows done. That's 3 rows, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so once again, we need to cast off on this square and we're going to start a new square right here. So to do that, you're going to go through just like we did before, pull up a loop, but you're going to go through that next loop. So don't leave it on the hook this time, go all the way through. Okay, when you get to the end, you're going to find the first chain and you're going to go into that, go all the way through. All right, so pull up a loop and go all the way through. And then you're going to chain 1, and then we're going to start doing your square right here. The reason for that chain 1 is when I was doing this at the beginning, I found that if I didn't chain 1, there would be a line that would go right there of this color. So in order to make it nice and clean, a nice clean square right there, then I did that chain 1. So the truth is, this could be reversible because it looks nice on both sides, right? And so if you did have that piece of yarn going across, it wouldn't really make that much of a difference because we're going to put something else on the back. But just so that you know for future reference, if you want to do something that doesn't have a back to it, that if you do that, it gives a cleaner stitch. So we're going to go ahead and, just like we did before, go under each of these bars. I didn't cut that because I don't want to use that skein yet, but we're going to pretend like I did. And then you're just going to do your knit stitch right there. And then go through 1. The only time you're ever going to go through 1 is when you're on the bottom edge of this. Go through 2. When you're not connecting to another square and you're on the bottom part. Okay, so then just continue on. Okay, then find your horseshoe there, your chain, and go through both of those for your knit stitch at the end. And then go through 1, and then yarn over and go through 2, all the way across. Okay, keep doing this until you get to the 5th row, and then we will cast off and I'll show you how to join the next row. And then that's really all this is. You're just going to keep doing that until you get to the width that you want it to be. Okay, so continue doing that, and then you'll cast off at the top, and then you'll take your variegated yarn and pick up with the same color that you left off on. You just like trim that and then start over here, and then you'll build out your square and do the same exact thing all the way across until you get it to the width that you want. So for me, I chose for my width to be 5 squares. So you're a lot of 5s. So it's like 5 inches or 5 stitches in the middle, 5 rows up, and then 5 squares across. So that kind of makes it easy. But for me, that was the width of one of my favorite scarves. So I figured that was perfect. So right now we just did this one and these 2. Then you'll pick up with this color where you left off over here and attach that, chain out your 7, and then build it up, cast it off, build it, or go across, build it up, cast it off, build it up, cast it off. And you're going to keep doing that until you're 5 squares across. Then you just won't go on that next row when you're decreasing. You just won't continue on to the end. You'll stop here on the side instead. So that, and then you'll just cast off. And since you cast off for each square, you can really end it wherever you want, right? So continue doing that to the length that you want it to be. For me, is 62 inches. You can do it longer if you like, or shorter, whatever you prefer. So I will meet you when we're done with that part, which I am on this one. I think I only have like a couple of, I'm at the decreasing part now, we're at the last corner. So I'll meet you there, and then we will start on the back. You are going to have ends for every row that you finish. So what I like to do is after like maybe, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 rows, I'll go through and weave in all my ends. So it's not a huge daunting task when you get to the end of it. So I just wanted to show you really quickly how I weave in my ends. Might be better to do with a bright colored one, because the back of these are different than like a regular crochet. it's kind of like almost like knitting. And you can follow the same rules as knitting where you do the figure 8 sort of in and out. Whatever you choose to do, just do it back and forth a few times. And it doesn't even have to be a lot. It's not going to be seen on either side because, well, first of all, we're going to have a cover over this, but also it kind of blends right in. So you just go through, grab a stitch over here somewhere, and then go back the way you came. You know, as long as you're weaving in your end on the same color, it's going to be pretty easy to hide. And then if you want to be extra safe, you can do another one. Like that. Turn it off. And it's pretty invisible. So, but you can, if you want to get fancy and do the figure 8 like you do like for knitting, then you absolutely can do that. I kind of like to make it as easy as possible on myself, especially since you're not going to see that side anyway. So I'm going to weave in my ends, and then we will finish the final corner on this one. So I'm down to, this is as wide as I want it, this is as long as I want it, so now we're going to start decreasing this way. So I'll show you how I do that, and then when we get to the point here, then we'll work on the other half. Okay, so when you are decreasing on the top or the other side of your piece, which is your far right side or your far left side if you are left-handed, you're going to basically do the same thing. You're going to start with this slip knot, but you're no longer going to chain out. You're going to actually go, usually we would start here on the end of this and we would chain out and then go up and then work our way down. But since we're not going to increase anymore, we're going to go to the top of this square. So like, imagine this is getting smaller this way now. So we're going to go to the top of this square and we're going to join here. And since we are joining at the top, we don't have to chain anymore. So it's just like if you had been joining in from the side, on this side, and then you just chain one, you go up, and then you go right into the first vertical bar right there, and you're just going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Just like that. So you should have your end stitch 5 in the middle, and then your last stitch will be when you connect it to the square right here. So you're going to go into that first row, pull up a loop, and then you're going to yarn over and go through 2 all the way across. Okay, and just continue doing that just like you were doing it before. Okay, so you have your end one, your end loop, your 5 in the middle, and then your left-hand loop is going to go through here to connect it. Yarn over and go through 2. Okay, so just continue doing that all the way till you get to this edge right here, and you'll end right there. Start on your new color and then keep going until you get to the last square in the corner. Okay, everybody, so I am down to the final corner, and although I'm sure you probably already have it all figured out by now after having done all of these squares, I'm gonna do it on camera just because there's something very satisfying about doing the final corner of anything that is corner to corner. So we're just gonna go do this really quick. We're going to follow a lot of these same rules in doing the back. The interesting thing about the back part is that I've never seen anybody do this before. I've never watched it on a video, not this, but what I'm going to do on the back. I've never watched it on a video. It's just in my head. So it's going to be interesting to see if it actually works. So it's basically just to keep that curl from happening. I'm going to attach as you go on both sides. Yeah, hopefully it'll work. I don't know, but here we go. We're just going to go ahead and attach to the final square. I cannot wait to wear this. I am so excited because I've actually been working on this for a while, as you can tell, because it was mostly done when I started the video. I have been like, I love all of these colors, so I keep finding like all these different sweaters that they would go with. And the weather changed very quickly. It is mid-October right now as I'm doing this video, and we went on a vacation to Tennessee, and it was still in the 80s, late or upper 70s when we were there, and then we came back and it was like 48 degrees. It was like suddenly winter practically. So I wish that I had had this done, but I'm excited to get it done in time for November, end of October and part of November. And then knowing me, I'll probably wear this, even though they're kind of more fall colors, they're my colors, so I'll probably wear it all the way through winter. These squares go so fast. Okay, so that's 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're just going to do our cast off row. And then go to the top of these chains on the side here. Pull up a loop, pull it through, final knot. And we're all done. Look, I still have some left of that first skein. I had 2 skeins total. Here's the original, the one that I showed you. But so, yay, I'm so excited. Okay. So now we're going to do the back part, and the back part is going to take some time because it's going to be, you're basically doing this entire length back and forth, back and forth. So I'm going to get us started. I'll weave in those ends later. I'm going to get us started on this back part and see if my theory in my head will work. See how that line right there crosses over? That's before I realized that there was a way I could do it without creating that line. So it only took me 1 row to figure it out. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the gray. So this gray, I apologize, I have no idea what yarn this is because I got it long ago and it's been in my closet, and somewhere along the line I got rid of the paper that goes around it, so I have no idea what it is. But it looks like it is a size 3 acrylic yarn. Okay guys, so here's what I have decided to do. I've done this a couple different ways and taken it apart because I think I figured out how I want to do this. I don't want to attach, I actually did part of this and I attached it on the bottom and just folded it and continued it upward. But I didn't like the edge and I don't know how I would do it when I got to the other side. So instead we're going to leave this edge open and we're going to attach it at the end with our cool little magic carpet stitch and then the tassels on the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this gray which is actually this big mound of gray, but I got it into some manageable rolls here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some just random stripes going up here, but the main color is gonna be gray because that's what I have the most of. But I also have this purple, I have some leftover from the last Ferris wheel, I have this Ferris wheel to work with, and then I also have some orange and some dark gray that I'm gonna work with in there to just kind of pull in all of these colors. But we're just gonna do mostly light gray with some stripes. So I'm gonna start off on the bottom, and we're going to, this comes out to 25 stitches. Each one of these little blocks is 5 rows high. So, and you can just go through and count these little stitches right here. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way across. So 5 times 5 is 25. So I'm gonna go ahead and chain 25. We're gonna start off just the way we did before, and then we're gonna attach it. So we're gonna go ahead and chain 25. 1, 2. Okay, so then what we're gonna do is we're gonna attach it, and then we're gonna build back up and attach on this side and leave these two ends open, and then we're going to crochet them together with our special stitch, our magic carpet stitch at the end. So what I have found in doing this in the past, I have found that the best way to make these stitches and these stitches match on the sides is to go in from the back to the front on this side, but from the front to the back on this side, and that makes the match and you don't have a funky twist there. I thought I could live with that twist, and I was just gonna continue on so that I didn't have to go back, but I decided that I can't live with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach it right there on the end. And then we're gonna do just like we did before. You're going to go into the back bump. Actually, you don't have to go through the back bump because we're going to attach all of that anyway to each other. So it doesn't have to be a pretty edge on the end there because we're going to actually attach them together. So you're going to pull up a loop, just go through the chain just like you normally would for a crochet and pull up a loop all the way across. And this is, just so you're aware, this is the back of the main part of the scarf. The front is over there. So we're working across the back of it now. Just like with regular crochet, working into the chain is the slowest part, I think. Okay, final chain. So you got all your chains on there, and now just make sure they're all straight, and then come over here and find the first row, the first chain, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this one right here. And you're gonna go from the front to the back. So this one was from the back to the front, and this one's from the front to the back. And what that does is it makes the stitch look the same on both sides. Because when I was doing it from the back to the front, it was creating, by bringing this yarn around and doing it around here, it was creating a twist, which made it so it didn't look the same as the other one. So we want them to match. So I'm gonna go from the front to the back, and then yarn over and go through 2, because this attaching it counts as your chain up 1. And then yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, all the way across. It's gonna feel so weird at first because you're gonna have this like gaping hole, but eventually what's gonna happen is you're gonna have 2 pieces that are attached on both sides. And it's gonna straighten out that curve, so the curve isn't there anymore, or the curl isn't there anymore. And it makes it kind of a nice little tube. Okay, final 2. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up this way, and we're going to attach from back to the front. It feels like front to back though, because we're coming in from the back. Oh, wait, let's make sure our yarn's where we want it to be. yarn over and pull it through there, and then also through there. And then you're going to go ahead and start with your simple stitch. So this one, not this one, this is your chain that's going up the side. So that's your, basically your attach point. It's the next one over. This is going to be your first Tunisian simple stitch right here. So go through the bar, pull up a loop, go through the bar, pull up a loop, and just do that all the way across. Okay, there's the final bar. And then we're going to go up to the next stitch, and we're going to attach from the front of the cloth to the back this time. So pull up a loop and then yarn over and go through 2. Oops. And yarn over and go through 2 all the way back to work it off the hook. Okay, so you finished all those. Make sure it's going the right direction. Come over here and you're going to go from, this time it's going to go from back to front. You go to the next row, make sure your yarn is where you want it to be, which is behind it. Pull it nice and tight and then pull it through. Just like that. And then continue doing that back and forth until you get it as high as you want. I'm going to go probably till about here, and then I'm going to show you how to change color. Okay guys, so here's what it looks like so far. I've gone up 2 sets of squares, and see how the stitches on this side match the stitches on this side, because we were coming at it from the different angles. And honestly, the more I do it, the more that's just kind of the natural way it feels, is to go this way, and then when you're over here, just go that way. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a stripe or change colors. And then I'm just going to let you go for it all the way to the end. And then when we get to the end, we will work on finishing the bottom and the top. So to change color, and I'm just going to randomly put stripes of different shapes and colors all the way through it, I think, just to kind of keep things interesting, but also to give it kind of a fun texture on both sides so it's not just boring. So what you want to do with this is you want to go ahead and do a slip knot. And then you're going to go through and do your connection like you normally would. Oh, one thing I did want to point out is even though these are 5 stitches across this way, it's 6 stitches going up, because this is the, how do I describe this? When we were doing this, originally we started here. Basically, you were working them this direction before instead of this direction. So this was 6 stitches across, but only 5 rows up. And that's why it's 5 rows this way and 6 rows this way. So when I was doing this, I was trying to do 5 rows and then realizing that I was always coming up short. So just keep in mind that I have, those are 6 rows there, including that little in-between spot, and then 6 there too. So on both sides. So it looks nice and even. Otherwise there's kind of a gap there, which, I mean, you could do it that way if you wanted to, because it doesn't really matter, but I just think it looks cleaner that way. So we're gonna go ahead and go through our little stitch here, the next stitch, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, so this one right here. And then pull in our purple, or whatever color you are playing with. I'm gonna do kind of a combination of all the different colors, I think. So pull that through, and then also pull it through here. And then you've got a nice clean start there. Let this guy fall, we'll probably just trim that off. So when you weave this end in, you can pull that part up and weave it in that way so that it makes it continuous, so they all look the same. Otherwise it's just going to be like one sitting there, but you want it to look nice and uniform with the other ones. So just remember that when you weave that in. So as soon as I'm done with this row, I'm gonna go ahead and let you have at it. Go ahead and play with all your colors and what you wanna do with this side. And I'm gonna go find some fun Halloween movies to watch while I do it. Light a candle and be all snuggly for the evening. Just find the end there. And then go through 2 all the way back. So this is a pretty long project, but it's going to be a pretty short video because really I'm, just showing you the basics, and then you can kind of take it from there. It's not a hard project at all. It's actually, I think, kind of easy and fun. But it's going to take a little time, which I actually love. I love those because you can just relax and enjoy. Great for long car rides and plane rides and all that good stuff. Okay, so that's your beginning of your first stripe, and then I'm just going to go ahead and let you go, and I'm going to do my thing, and I'll meet you at the end of the scarf, and then we will work on combining these 2 together with the magic carpet stitch and our little tassels, and then we'll be done. Hey guys, I'm back. I just wanted to show you kind of where I'm at with this scarf so far. I'm about halfway through, and I've just been randomly placing these stripes in here, which, look at those yummy colors, and then look at how cute it is backing that patchwork on the front, which is our interlock squares. So I did want to kind of show you what I'm going to do as far as weaving these ends in, but look at how, one of the things I love about Simple Stitch is look at how easy it is to stay. You don't have to count your stitches ever, because literally you just follow the line. So that's our side stitch, that's our beginning stitch, that's our end stitch. Like if you ever miss a stitch or you add a stitch, you'll know, because you'll grow a new line basically on there. So it's nice to not have to count and to just be able to sit and watch Netflix if you want to, or relax and do other things. So maybe on a car ride or something. So anyway, what I wanted to do before I go on is I wanted to weave in some of my ends since I'm halfway through. And I wanted to show you what I'm going to do. First of all, let me tell you sort of how I've been setting these ends up. So you'll notice that there's an end on this side, but there's a matching one on the inside for those. So every time I end a piece of yarn, right, and I pull in a new, I didn't bring my hook down, but when I pull in a new piece of yarn, I am going to put, I'm just going to use this one. Oh, here's one. I'm going to put the old piece of yarn is going to lay on the inside, the tail for the old yarn, and the tail for the new yarn is going to go on the outside. And that way, so we'll pretend like this is a new one that I'm pulling in. So I turn it so the tail goes this way, and then I will just pull it through like so. So then these are going to be, the old one's going to be on the inside, the new one is going to be on the outside. They're all going to end up on the inside because I'm going to sew in my ends in the part that you're not going to see. But what I want to do on here is I want to be able to take these ends and make them look perfect. So that is why I left these on the outside. So this isn't happening right now. We'll just let this go. And I'm going to put a stitch marker just so we don't lose that as we're playing with this. So what I'm gonna do is, you can do this with a needle or you can do it with a hook, whichever is more comfortable for you, but I'm literally just gonna go up the pile, up from the bottom, and every time there's a yarn out like this, I'm gonna fold it over so that it looks like a V to match all the other ones, and then I'm just gonna pull it through with the right end of the hook. just like that, so that it looks like it's perfect, right? I'm just gonna go through and do that with all of them. Once they're all on the right side, or the inside, the wrong side, I guess, then I'm gonna turn it inside out and I'm gonna sew all my ends in. And I just like to kind of do it halfway through so that it's not like this big burden at the end. I actually love, if you watch my videos, you know I actually love sewing my ends in, and it's because I can make everything look perfect and kind of shore things up. And if you've got any like things that aren't right, you can kind of fix it when you sew your ends in. So for me, it's sort of like the finishing touch, but it's also kind of time consuming. And when you get to the end of a project, you're kind of like, you just want to be done. You want to wear it and show it off and take pictures of it and give it to whoever or what, you know, so you don't want to be weaving in ends for hours and hours and hours. So I like to kind of do it as I go. So this little guy, to make him perfect, we'll just put him over this way. So hopefully you kind of get what I'm doing here. It's just so that those V's are all lined up with the row there. So then I'm going to turn it inside out, and I'm going to weave them in just like I did before, and I'm just going to go back and forth to make it nice and secure so that none of these ends come out. I'm not a big fan of knots, so I tend to not knot things, I guess, is what I do. I do a slip knot to get them started, but I don't like to have the texture of knots in there, so I tend to try and go without as much as I can. So if you don't want them to be too tight because you want it to be loose like the rest of them, so kind of pull that out, or maybe not that much, but you know what I mean, so it matches. So just do that all the way up the side, and then go inside and weave in your ends, and you'll be good to go. Okay guys, are you ready to see the stripes on the opposite side? Look at how cute. And it's just completely random. I just did whatever made me happy as I was going along. So I'm ready to teach you how to do the connection at the ends. I've already done this side. And basically what this is a modified magic carpet stitch. And normally you would hang tassels off of this, but I kind of took a poll with my family, and they all kind of think that I shouldn't put tassels and just let this be the end of it. So, and I kind of agree, but I'm not sure. I keep going back and forth. So I'm gonna show you how this looks on at the end of this video. And then if you want to give me a comment and let me know if you think that it should have tassels, then, or not, please let me know that, because I don't know, I just keep going back and forth. It's so pretty just the way it is. I think that tassels might be too much. And I was gonna do just like little skinny tassels, not big, huge ones, but still, I think this is just pretty by itself. So I'm gonna teach you how to do this. I totally made this up. This is based off of the magic carpet stitch, and I will link the magic carpet stitch in the description, but just know that I completely do my own thing. So it's like, I kind of went way off course on it. So just to kind of make it work with what we're working on. I do have a confession to make. I did kind of end up blocking this a little bit. And this is why, because this part right here kept, just because of the squares, it kept trying to bunch together, which was cute and it gave a really cool texture, except that it just was like, it ended up being like a ball around my neck instead of a flat, nice scarf. So I did block it a little bit. And when I say block it, all I did was I put it on the ironing board, I gave it a couple of squirts of just some mist of water, and then I took the iron over it on the steam setting really quickly, and it was enough to just kind of like straighten it out, and also kind of makes it thinner so that it lays flatter, so it's not so thick, and you know, because you want it to kind of lay nice. And for me, I like to wrap it around my neck twice, and if you do that when it's really, really thick, sometimes that's uncomfortable, too much. So anyway, so that's what I did with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and teach you how to do this side here. And it's going to start with just a single crochet across the edge. Now these are the same number of stitches, but you can tell that the tension on this side is tighter than on this side. And that's because this yarn is thinner than this yarn. So it just takes up more space. So whatever makes it lay flat, if you end up like doing 2 stitches in one of these or whatever, just to kind of make it all lay flat, you know, it's totally fine. You can actually tell on here that there was a couple of times that I did 2 stitches into 1 stitch on this side, or 2 stitches on this side, one stitch each on this side to just kind of make it lay flat on there, and you can't tell from a distance, nobody's gonna care. So whatever you can do to kind of make that happen, and get used to kind of winging it like that, because when we do the magic carpet stitch on the end, I'm gonna totally wing it, and you guys are gonna have to just trust me on this. It worked out before, but I did redo it a few times to get just the right look. So we're gonna go ahead and start with, I think I started with a standing single crochet on this one. You're gonna wrap it once or twice, it doesn't really matter because you're just gonna go through one of those. So go through those 2 stitches on the end right there, and then you're going to wrap it once, pull up a loop, wrap it once, and go through 2 loops. And it doesn't matter if you had an extra one on there, but hold on to this yarn until you've done the second one. Once you've done the second one, then it's nice and secure. Just like that, and then do that all the way across in whatever way makes it lay nice and flat. And I will meet you on this end over here. Okay, so I've completed that row. See, I even got a little bit fancy in there, and still it's just a nice clean row, right? Base row. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn it. You're not gonna chain up. All you're gonna do, because we're gonna make this a nice like even transition there, but you are going to jump to the middle of this square, right? So whatever stitch you deem to be the middle of this square, and you're going to do, I'm not even sure what to call this. It is a single crochet V stitch. Instead of doing 1 chain in between the V, we're gonna do 3, because this is gonna be a nice big loop right here. So you're gonna jump over here and you're gonna do 1 single crochet in the middle, whatever stitch you deem to be the middle of that square. So do a single crochet, and then you're gonna do 3 chains, and then you're gonna do a single crochet in the same stitch. Okay, then you're gonna jump over these and you're gonna go to whatever stitch you deem to be the edge stitch right here, right? Could be this one, could be that one, whichever one you like better. I like that one better. So we're gonna go in this one and we're gonna do another V stitch with single crochets, but we're only gonna do 1 chain in between on this one. So on the edge of the square, you're just gonna do 1 chain in between. And if you're like, what in the world is she doing? Let me show you. So basically what is happening here is that one that has the chain 3 is right in the center, so that your little, I don't even know what you would call that, your little shell right there is lined up with the square. And then the one that only has 1 stitch is gonna be your anchor for the side of that shell, and you want that at the edge of the square. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're gonna continue doing that all the way across. And I'll do it with you. Okay, so we did our little V. You can barely even see it, but it'll be a nice little marker when you get there. And then you're gonna jump over these stitches, go to the middle stitch of the square, whatever one you think is the middle, and you're gonna do a single crochet, chain 3, and then back into the same stitch, you're gonna do a single crochet. So it makes these little loops. So you have a big loop in the middle, tiny loop on the line, big loop in the middle, tiny loop on the line, all the way down. So this one is the small loop one. So single crochet, 1 chain, single crochet, middle of the square, single crochet, 3 chains, and single crochet in the same stitch. Jump over to the edge and do your small one. Do that all the way to the end. This is why stitch count doesn't really matter on the end there, because we're just skipping over all of that stuff anyway. So we started this thing with a slip stitch on the end. We're gonna finish it. So go to the end here and just do a slip stitch to join. Just like that. Okay, so now it's connected. You got your base there and we have one row left. So you're just gonna turn it. And now that you've set it up on the side, you can trust that it's gonna work out just fine. So now what we're gonna do is you're gonna do 4 double crochets in this hole right here, the chain 3 hole. You're gonna do 4 double crochets, a picot, and then 4 double crochets. So wrap it once, go through that hole. And then your picot is just 1, 2, 3 chains. And then you're gonna come back, and it's hard to see with this dark yarn, but the top of this single crochet and the side piece there, so you have those little V that forms right there, you're gonna go through that, wrap it, and then just join with a slip stitch. And that makes for a nice like picot that's like not lopsided. I'll show you again on the next one. But so now you're gonna do 4 more double crochets in the same space. Okay, so we made our first little, it looks like the top of a castle or something. I'm not really sure what to call it. We're gonna come over here. So this is the one that has the little nub for having a single, just one single chain in the middle. You're gonna go right into that, and then you're going to slip stitch to join. So that just anchors it over on that side. Then you're gonna go back over here to this big one and do the same exact thing, just 4 double crochets, a picot, and 4 double crochets. What would you even call that? Like a peacock feather? I don't even know what to call that stitch. Okay, and then your picot, which is 1, 2, 3, and then I'll bring it a little closer so you can see. So there's the little V right there. You're going to go through both of those, wrap it, and pull through both to join it. And then go ahead and do your 4 double crochets in that same space. Okay, find your little nub for your little anchor spot and go into that little space. It's the space created by the chain between those 2 single crochets. Just go in there and you're gonna pull up a loop and slip stitch to join. And then continue that all the way across, and then I'll meet you at the end. Okay, down to the final stitch. Finished all these little, it looks like, they almost look like sunflower petals. I guess they could be called petals. You just want to go down to this final end stitch over here and find it. And then you're just going to grab a loop, pull it up, and slip stitch to join. Knot it. And then you are going to find your scissors and then trim it, and you're done. All you have to do is weave in your ends. So this is a time that I take this opportunity to kind of, when I weave in my ends, I'm going to kind of shore this up so that it's perfect to that side. Same thing over here. I'm gonna make that go perfectly to that side so that it doesn't look like it's off center a little bit, because they do, like that one's in a little bit further than that one. I'm gonna fix that. So that's why I love weaving in my ends at the end, because I get the opportunity to do that. So I'm gonna show you what this looks like on, because it's so long and thick and snuggly, and I'm just so excited about it. Look at how pretty. Anyway, but before I do that, I wanted to tell you what my next video is going to be. I think I'm going to do reusable bags because Christmas is coming, and it is, as we speak right now, it is the week before Halloween. So it's a great time to start thinking about what you want to do for Christmas gifts. And sometimes I think that the bags are the best gifts because my parents we tend to like give the same gift bags back and forth to each other over and over. And if we're gonna do it, it's kind of fun to have it be something that is beautiful like this, right? So I think my next video is gonna be gift bags for Christmas, but it can be for any holiday, and I might even do like little gift baskets too, so reusable gift bags. That'll be the next one, so be sure to subscribe if that's what you're interested in. And there's lots of other videos that you can check out too on my channel if you're interested in that. Also, if you wanna show me, actually tell me if you want me to put tassels on these or not. I think they're gonna be fine without. But if you feel strongly about that, let me know about that in the comments. And then also be sure to join me on my Facebook group called Ginell's Quarantine Crochet. We all share pictures of what we got accomplished there, and I like to keep a little album of everybody's finished works. So, you wanna see what this looks like? Hold on just a second. Okay guys, here it is. Check it out. This is the interlock side. I just cannot get over how yummy all those colors are. They're all my favorite colors. And then if you're feeling like you want to change it up, here is the stripe side. And honestly, I don't know which side I like better. I think they're both pretty cool. But then watch this. But wait, there's more. You can actually do this. This is my favorite way to wear a scarf. And have both sides showing at the same time. Isn't that fun? So this is where the tassels are gonna go. I kind of think I'm gonna just leave it. I don't know. If you have strong feelings about it, please share in the comments if you think I should add some like long tassels or maybe even some little short tassels on there to just kind of give it a little bit more texture. But it's a stormy, dark day in October as I'm filming this. So I'm gonna try and get some pictures outside with the beautiful leaves, but it may not happen till tomorrow. But I'm gonna go ahead and post a reveal video on my Facebook group, so my Facebook people get to see things before everybody else. But I think that is it for today. I will see you on the next video. Bye.